Welcome to Anxiety Land. There's like a weird thing. I saw a video of a girl on TikTok and she was talking about how to decompress her brain before she was going on a date. It was like one of those TikTok videos. By the way, it's really sad that's where we're at in society. It's not like, did you see the new movie about the pianist who only had one finger and he played Mozart and everybody stood up and clapped? No, we're like, you see that new TikTok video where that girl getting ready to go on a date? Like, that's what I feel like whenever I do that. But she was talking about how to decompress her brain. She would make all these noises. And it's like, I completely get it. Because in the modern world, sometimes you just feel like you have to do too much. And that's what we're going to be talking today is burnout real. You know, I think the reason why I started thinking about burnout lately is I was thinking about joining the 12-step group Workaholics Anonymous, because what happens is I get in these modes to where I work so hard that I neglect sleep and just a bunch of other parts of my life. And workaholism is one of those things that people will reward. Nobody uses that same logic with any other vice besides workaholism. No other addiction works. By the way, I just want to say that I think crack is the secret to longevity. In fact, I think the new Fast and Furious movie should just be called Fast 12, crack. And then they don't even use cars. It's just crackheads running as fast as they possibly can. Like somebody throws a woman out of an airplane and a crackhead just runs over into a new city and catches her. I've got to be real. I've been feeling really burnt out lately. And I had to look at why I'm feeling this way. Now, here's what my daily schedule typically looks like. It can vary from day to day, but I wake up at about 6 a.m. I meditate and I pray and I read the Bible. Then I make a smoothie with matcha and cacao and banana, and then I go teach. I'm a substitute teacher. I'm not bragging about that. Bragging about being a substitute is like bragging about being a stepdad. Like, these kids aren't even mine, but boy, am I proud of them. It's like, dude, the kids aren't yours. Just calm down, okay? It's like not a real brag-worthy thing. But I go and I substitute teach, and I do that till about 3 o'clock. Then I go to a meeting, and then I go work out at the gym. I go do a comedy show or an open mic, and then I come back home and I write, and I try to do an evening meditation, and then I pack my lunch for the next day. It usually involves cooking, and then I go to bed. And I'm usually gone from about 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night, and I get somewhere around 6 hours of sleep. But when you're constantly just going, you start to feel tired after a while, because what you're doing is you're exerting so much that you spread yourself so thin. In the 12-step group that I'm in, they call it exertion exhaustion. It's where you exert yourself so hard, and then you become so exhausted that you become burnt out. So I don't really know what causes burnout, to be honest with you, but I think it's from doing too much, and it's doing it from a place of lack. Like, you're stressed all the time. You know, you're always thinking like, what happens if my career doesn't work out? Like, if you're in that headspace a lot, the work that you do is going to be very stressful. And in the past, I used to just put myself in crazy situations to where I would quit my day job, and I would quit it in a usually really crazy fashion. Like, I remember in my 20s, I had a lot more energy, so I would just get really manic. I remember one time I took allergy pills because I was like congested, and then I drank a Starbucks coffee, and it created like some sort of mania explosion in my head, and I was like, God wants me to quit my job. And so I quit my job, and I was like going around the house with my hands up, and then the coffee wore off and I started crying. And then I remember I was like, oh crap, how am I gonna pay my bills? Like, it's completely crazy. I am past those days. But I have been substitute teaching, and it's not easy because they usually send me to special ed. Now, here's the thing, okay? I have a lot of compassion for kids, especially kids in special ed, but I have to be honest, it's really terrifying sometimes because I'm 5'6", and nothing is more scary than standing eye to eye with a gigantic 4th grader who has pudding on the corner of his lips, like making direct eye contact. It's like, dude, am I about to like square off with this kid right now? And being like a short dude, I should not go to jail. But it's hard, dude. A lot of times there's different things that cause burnout. It can just be your day job. Like, I walk into work in the morning and I'm teaching kids, and I'm teaching these kids, it's a long-term substitute assignment, which means I'm basically a regular teacher. And so I walk in at 8 o'clock in the morning one morning, and Edgardo and Rashad, who are frenemies, that means that they're best friends one second, they're enemies the next second. They're sitting there going, suck it! to each other, and I'm like, ugh. First off, people are still saying that. Second off, no, you guys need to not talk like that in this classroom. So yeah, it's a little challenging, man, and it's special ed, so you feel sorry for some of these kids because they're dealing with a lot of like mental stuff. But yeah, you work at a lot of different schools and you have to put up with a lot of different kids. One of the schools that I went to, the principal had a neck tattoo, and one of the kids mouthed off to me, and I go, I will send you to the principal's office, knowing for sure that he might not come back. Because dude, this guy had like, it was like not a hipster neck tattoo. You could tell this dude had been through the trenches. Like he opens up a switchblade, like, are you messing with Mr. Jones? The dude looked like he might have been like a top kingpin for MS-13. Now he decided to get into the elementary school market. And that is why I'm talking about substitute teaching. Because being around kids has made me realize that part of the stress that you deal with as an adult is because you've somehow lost touch with your inner child. Like kids are in the moment, they're so in the moment that they can cry and then they can be laughing like 2 minutes later. I mean, if you do that as an adult, you'll be like, you're bipolar. But kids, they are so in the moment, and it's reminded me to be that. And I used to always hate that advice, be in the moment, because the only people who ever gave it to me were trust fund man bun people who moved to Los Angeles from Iowa, and they're like, you just need to be in the moment. It's like, dude, you don't have a job. So it's like easy to be in the moment when you're not working, but you start to watch the way like kids operate and you're like, man, I need to bring that to my adult life. The other thing that I've been thinking about burnout is boundaries. That's such a buzzword in psychology now, boundaries, but you tell people no, and it's healthy to tell people no. It's healthy to be like, no, I'm not gonna do that. You're not a jerk because you do that. Because you have to have boundaries with kids, because kids will test your boundaries. They'll see what you're cool with, what you're not cool with. And then sometimes you just wanna lose your temper and scream because they're annoying. Kids are annoying. I remember one of the best cases of teachers with boundaries, but also psychosis, was this teacher that I really, really liked a lot. His name was Mr. Gallo. Super cool dude. He was a retired either Marine or Navy SEAL. I can't remember which one it was. I remember on the very first day, this dude walks in the classroom and he was like, I like a really calm classroom. I don't want anyone to yell. I don't want anyone to scream. If you do yell or you make a mockery of yourself, I will take you outside of this classroom and I will straighten you out. None of us knew what it meant to be straightened out, but that was what it was called. Mr. Gallo said this, and we knew that he was a retired Marine, so we're like, it's probably really, really scary. So I remember one day James Peters like burped, and then after he burped, he was like laughed, and this is junior high. He was like, he's like, ah! And then Mr. Gallo just set his pencil down, and he goes, James, step outside. So they walk outside, and you could just hear Mr. Gallo screaming from outside like, you do not do that in my class! You do not mess with me! And as I get older, I'm like, dude, I need to channel my inner Mr. Gallo that aggressively protects his peace. Because as you get older, you realize that people will use you. People will feed off of you, especially if you're a kind, giving person. There's people who will suck that energy out of you, like the Dementors in Harry Potter. They feed off of good energy. And sometimes you have to be like Mr. Gallo and you have to straighten them out and be like, you do not mess with me! You know? And then you just go back to being calm. It is really, really funny because he was a very serene guy. The guy had the personality like he meditated all the time. It was just very calm. And I've noticed that when I lose my temper, it scares people too, because I look crazy because I'm always smiling and my teeth are white. But then whenever I get psycho, they're like, dude, there's like something wrong with you. I'm like, no, you've just made 1,000 withdrawals from me. And finally, I don't want to be nice anymore because I would just act cool with everything. You got to aggressively protect your peace. And it's something, from what I can tell, that you have to practice on. With that being said though, you do have to watch and see who your real friends are because they will show themselves. My point being, guys, is you gotta be congruent. You have a day job, you chase your dreams, you gotta eat healthy, you gotta work out, you have to be able to sleep, you have to be able to incorporate all this. And then you also have to have boundaries and channel your inner Mr. Gallo because people will try to take from you. And sometimes it's not even that malicious, it's just you haven't really told them what you're cool with. So I don't have any hardcore solutions about getting over burnout, but I know it starts with feeling rested. And hopefully, if you are feeling burnt out, you take some of this and channel your inner Mr. Gallo, okay? All right, guys, This has been another episode of Anxiety Land. You guys are awesome for watching us. And we also have t-shirts that are for sale. You can check the link in the bio. This program has been brought to you by Vesby. Vesby is a super app that you can get in the App Store. Really awesome. There is behind the scenes stuff. I have sketches on there and they sponsor us. So do me a favor and go over there and download the app, and you can connect with me there as well also. So I guess that's it.